There are 33 days left in 2023. Looking back, would you say you've made the most of yet another year? Use these last few days to reflect on the past and plan for the future. We may not be able to correct the past, but once you're alive, you have the chance to put into motion what you want to achieve for the future. It's Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. The news is next.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, November 28, 2023. 144 housing units will be constructed in Tivoli Gardens at a cost of $2.8 billion under the National Housing Trust NHT Community Renewal Project. On Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness and a team of stakeholders broke ground for the Royal Estates Housing Development Project. The development will consist of 130 duplexes and 14 mixed-use units for residential and commercial use. They are being built on 8.3 acres of land and are slated for completion in 2026. The selling price will be finalized on completion of the development. Prime Minister Holness says the project is a testimony to the government's unwavering commitment to building not just houses, but communities.
This development represents hope and opportunity and embodies the ideals of the Community Renewal Program, an initiative deeply rooted in the tenets of Vision 2030, and it is an outgrowth of the NHT's Inner City Housing Project.
The land earmarked for the Royal Estates Housing Development borders west on the Tivoli Gully, north by Tivoli Gardens, and south and east by the Jamaica Railway Corporation property. The Ministry of Agriculture is providing $20 million for the College of Agriculture, Science and Education case to help fund the construction of a veterinary and animal science facility. This is in addition to plans by the ministry to expand the school's small ruminant development program and the solarization of the farm. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green handed over the check to the school at one of the ministry's new Face of Food stakeholder engagement sessions in Portland. With CASE being the country's primary agriculture training school, Minister Green says the development will enable more advanced training of people to care for livestock like goats and sheep.
So what we're going to do with some of these resources is the veterinary lab that they have, the animal sciences lab. We're going to refurbish that so that they can be at the cutting edge. We're also going to be working with them to bring in solarization so they can reduce the cost of operation of CASE.
According to Minister Green, the next stage is to create a pathway for the institution to offer a full veterinary sciences program in the near future. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is making the call for research proposals to be done jointly between clinical and social scientists to facilitate a balance in the treatment of clinical and behavioral issues in the population. Dr. Tufton says such holistic solutions to healthcare is important to help address the spike in non-communicable diseases, NCDs, where the behavioral component is crucial. He insists that research data is important to support the debate on issues such as nutritional value and the impact of ultra-processed foods on the health of individuals and societies.
Jamaica is a tropical country. We have an in-season menu of foods every day. Sweet potato is always going to be better than processed rice. And anything in the tin is full of sodium and preservatives, and is likely over time with other abuse of nutrition to cause some of the fastest rate of growth of disease that we're seeing, like cancers.
Dr. Tufton was speaking at the ministry's recently concluded annual health research conference. He says the ministry has been advocating at the WHO and PAHO for greater integration of human behavior into clinical science. At the local level, the Health Ministry is pursuing a series of lectures around evidence-based work on ultra-processed foods. And finally, following up on approval for the establishment of a male empowerment unit, the Ministry of Gender did a symbolic opening recently. The unit is in the Bureau of Gender Affairs. During her keynote address, Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange said the unit was an upgrade from what was just a special desk for men.
The newly established Male Empowerment Unit will play an even greater role in engaging men and boys and ensuring the Bureau's mandate of gender mainstreaming is carried out seamlessly.
Minister Grange said the unit would also provide opportunities for frank discussion on a range of issues such as men and masculinity, health, education, and the role of men and boys in eliminating gender-based violence. The objective of the Male Empowerment Unit is to promote positive male role models and positive fathering, leadership qualities, and responsible behaviors and attitudes.
The government of Jamaica recognizes that men's mental health and wellness are critical components of how they interrelate with others in their personal and professional lives. Being mentally aware means we can provide the emotional and mental health support to men while identifying tools to manage triggers such as stress, depression, anxiety, fear, responsibilities, obligations, and unmet expectations.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Are you passionate about shaping the future of governance in Jamaica? Do you want to be part of a historic move to define the roles, responsibilities, and standards of conduct for our parliamentarians? The Joint Select Committee of Parliament, considering job descriptions, codes of conduct, and performance standards for parliamentarians, is having a series of town hall meetings to get your insights on the roles, conduct, and expectations of your elected representatives. Join the virtual town hall on the Zoom platform on November 30, 2023 at 6 p.m. You will have the opportunity to share your opinions, engage with members of the committee, and make your voice heard. Visit www.japarliament.gov.jm for further details. Let's work together to build a stronger Jamaica.
Jamaica House Weekly is next, where we bring you highlights of what happened in the office of the Prime Minister this past week.
On Jamaica House Weekly, Prime Minister Holness announced measures to address the impact of flood rains, crime, the acceleration of land titling, plus engaged business leaders. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Joy Kelly. In Parliament last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced a raft of measures to return the island to normalcy following the November 16 to 18 passage of Tropical Cyclone 22. The system caused an estimated $409 million in damage to the island's infrastructure. Mr. Holness revealed that a $1.4 billion constituency-based mitigation and cleaning program would be undertaken. This will see $22 million being assigned to each constituency.
The program will implement targeted interventions with the following key priority rankings: the reopening of blocked roads, cleaning of critical drains, which have now been heavily silted, patching of main thoroughfares, which have been scarred, construction of new structures such as retaining walls, river training, small river training if you can do that.
Of the $22 million, $10 million will be spent on road rehabilitation, $6 million on debushing activities, and $3 million each will go towards drain cleaning and garbage collection.
I have directed the NAA to collaborate with all relevant entities, including municipal corporations, to conclude detailed designs and final estimates for any substantial repairs, particularly to roads that may come as a result of this project. I anticipate that work will begin as early as possible and continue into the festive season.
Prime Minister Holness also shared that $330 million has been set aside for a housing assistance program. $5 million will be allocated to each constituency, targeting 100 persons per constituency. This will enable members of parliament to offer support in the form of minor repairs to houses that were affected by Tropical Cyclone 22.
The idea behind this is to target those households that are vulnerable to weather, particularly leaking roofs or compromised wooden structures, to assist with the replacement of zinc sheets that are compromised, windows or ply sidings that have been compromised.
Prime Minister Holness says East Rural St. Andrew as well as East and West St. Thomas constituencies will receive an additional $3 million each due to the severity of the impact. In the meantime, the Prime Minister says $700 million has been secured to conduct river training on rivers across St. Thomas in the upcoming fiscal year.
The rivers there are not well defined in terms of their boundaries, their embankments. And so if there's a heavy shower of rain and significant volume of water, they tend to overrun and spill over on the plains, which is, in a sense, what makes those lands fertile and arable. But when we are building alongside rivers and we are building in the river paths and we are building in floodplains, then, Madam Speaker, we will have to make the investments in ensuring that we control the flow of the rivers.
And during a tour of communities following the passage of the Tropical Cyclone 22, Mr. Holness called on Jamaicans to consider environmental and climate change issues when deciding where to build their homes.
Land titling is absolutely important for the development of the country.
An additional $1 billion will be made available to process land titles in the next financial year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure last Tuesday in Bogwog, St. Catherine, where 130 land titles were delivered. The titles were secured through the National Land Agency's Systematic Land Registration Program.
What we are doing is to establish ownership in a formal way, using the systematic registration of titles.
Mr. Holness says there are approximately 300,000 unregistered parcels of land on the valuation roll. Later in the week, the Prime Minister broke ground for the National Housing Trust's latest development, Royal Estate. The Tivoli Gardens-based property will consist of 144 housing units, 130 of which are duplexes, and the rest are for residential and commercial purposes.
The development is a testimony to your government's unwavering commitment to building not just houses, but communities under the banner of the NHT's Community Renewal Program.
Back at Jamaica House, Prime Minister Holness met with several business leaders. The meetings included Chairman of the Korea Chambers of Commerce, representatives from Carib Cement Company Limited, and members of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Mr. Holness then ventured next door to King's House for the Jamaica Civil Service Long Service Awards. Over 600 public servants were recognized for their faithful service to the government and people of Jamaica. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
A popular low-fat, high-quality protein rich in omega-3 fatty acids that requires a lot more effort than you may have thought to end up on your dinner table. Up next, we learn about the daily operations in running a fish farm.
My name is Cardell Anthony Style. I'm the operating manager here at the Boardwalk Farm here in Lightspen, Old Harbour. On a production day or a harvesting day is like, I wake up like probably 4:35 in the morning. Obviously, we'll get the call from overnight saying that we have a pan ready for selling. So they will respond to us, and then we will know based on the amount of persons coming.
Before I come, I would normally use my phone as a mean of advertisement. So I would use my status to advertise. So I would know exactly say, I'm supposed to travel with a 200 or 250 today because it depends on the demand. So that's where I was started. Once I come here, I would contact Grace first to tell her say I would need 200, and then I would come, and then they would draw it from the pan and they would wait, and then I would put it in my cart, and then I would leave and take it to the destination.
So the selling take place like probably roughly 8 o'clock. We finish our stuff like that. We prepare the feeding again for the entire day. Currently we're on the biomar. The biomar feed, it's a floating feed. But when we use the floating feed now, it's like we actually see the amount that the fish is consumed and where exactly the feeding reaches in the water and everything. With the biomar, once you throw it, if for instance the fishes are not feeding, you will find that all of it just float to the side. So you will have an idea the next day now as to say, all right, this pan is not feeding as well as they ought to, so probably you want to cut back a little bit. Or if you have a pan that is consuming that much, you find out that either you want to improve on the feeding capacity or, the amount is okay.
Our farm is just tilapia. We just do tilapia farming. We started out with just 2 ponds. It was a test run, had a lot of challenges, a whole heap of setbacks, but so far it has improved significantly. So from then to now we are doing way better from then. It is a lucrative business. There are not enough persons. The demand is so much. So based on what the challenges they had, we figured out how we could circumvent those, work again around them, mitigate all of those. We saw where we could have done the same fish they were doing, but get better results. We have always considered farming to be a great option, something to explore. The opportunity came up to purchase this farm. We didn't hesitate. And then the fact that it had, all of these ponds were existing, and then we had the equipment to renovate them, so it kind of cut some of the costs. So we didn't hesitate, and that's really how this started. The National Fisheries Authority was of great assistance and guidance to us in that we knew nothing about fish farming. So you had their resource officers would come by. Like we have a 1 acre pond, they were really integral in telling us, okay, this is your stock density, which is how much to stock per acre, half acre. And then they would come and check, your water quality is not so good, so maybe you need to do this or that. So they have been of great help to us. And initially, our fries were gotten from them. So, they still continue to guide and help us throughout the process. There's a misconception that they tasted like dirt. So persons have now come to realize that that's not necessarily so. They actually taste fabulous. So it's not a set number per day, but say an average size, a 1 acre pond, if you harvest, ideally for me, I would like to get a minimum 4,000 pounds. We have come close to that. So it's based on what you stock, your size of your pond, what you stock and what you recover. Predominantly, they're from all over. I've had one person come from as far as Westmoreland.
I supply the Bagwak region, West Prospect, a small community named Omele, Lucky Valley. So I would do that like 3 times per week. They're very good size. Their average size is like 3/4 pound up to a pound. And they're very fleshy and meaty, so they really love them and they're always requesting it, so it's really high in demand. It's an opportunity to start something for yourself. So sometimes if you're not working, you can create something for yourself. Most people may not have a transport where they can transport it, but sometimes you can maybe start with a bicycle or whatever way to start something, to create something for yourself. Make a betterment of yourself and bring the goods to the people because it's high in demand and that's what they want.
I would encourage others, if they had the land space, the infrastructure to do so, with proper guidance though. So get in contact with the National Fisheries Authority, check with other farmers who have been in the business. A lot of them are willing to guide you along the way. So with that guidance, and if you do things correctly, then it is a success, can be very, very successful.
Fishing means a whole lot to me. Whatever you want, you just have to go for it, because you cannot learn to drive in a parked vehicle.
Yes, walk right over there and drop it in the bin. Reuse that wastewater from your kitchen for the garden. Get your hands dirty and plant a tree. Farmers, hold off on the pesticides, especially near our rivers. Do your part to protect our watersheds so we can preserve the source of our drinking water. Every act to protect our watersheds counts. Start now.
The Jamaican government is serious about protecting lives and livelihoods. This priority was galvanized through a 5-year project dubbed a Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean. Let's learn some more.
A Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean. This is a story of a remarkable project to increase Jamaica's resilience to climate change by sustaining our watersheds, our coastlines, our land and marine resources, while empowering more Jamaicans with the required knowledge and awareness to secure their livelihoods in these spaces. The Hills to Ocean project is funded by the European Union Global Climate Change Alliance Plus in partnership with the Government of Jamaica to the tune of €6 million over 5 years. The project will implement integrated and sustainable landscape and coastal management interventions to tackle the thorny challenges of declining ecosystems, biodiversity loss, land degradation, and the vagaries of climate change affecting vulnerable communities in Jamaica.
The project intends to stop erosion in selected watersheds to reduce degradation of important terrestrial habitats, sedimentation of the marine space, loss of soil productivity, and pollution of the rivers and streams for improper waste management. The restorative activities are therefore designed towards building climate resilience and transforming managing capabilities within affected ecosystems and communities.
In the lower reaches of the watershed, the flow of the Wogwater River has slowed to a trickle in parts of the picturesque Castleton Botanical Gardens. For Oswald Eyre, a longtime resident of the Wogwater Valley and president of a local NGO working with 17 communities, the Hills to Ocean project is a welcomed addition to the ongoing efforts to restore the watershed.
These are two big resources, Castleton Gardens and the Wogwater and its tributaries. In the early days, the Wogwater was most important for fishing, for recreation, for training everybody on the banks of the Wogwater, some 17 to 18,000 persons. By age 10 or so, they will be able to swim. There was a section of the river that we call Deep Hole, very deep, and it retained water. And when rainfall is low, those deep holes will gradually feed the stream with water. And by the time they are exhausted, rain would come again and refill them. All that is gone today.
The Hills to Ocean project will directly benefit Castleton Gardens and many other communities and residents who make their livelihood from key economic sectors like agriculture and tourism. There are 3 targeted watershed management units under the project, the Wagwater WMU, including Castleton Gardens, the Rio Nuevo WMU in St. Mary, and the Rio Bueno White River WMU in St. Anne and Trelawney. The project will also focus on wetland ecosystems at Winsmorass on the coast of Falmouth, Trelawney, and farther inland at the Mason River Protected Area at the border of St. Anne and Clarendon, a Ramsar site known for its rich biodiversity. The Hills to Ocean project will also assess the health and distribution of seagrass beds in the Ocho-Rios Marine Park Protected Area and at the Helsha Bay and Half Moon Bay Portland Bight Protected Area in St. Catherine and Clarendon. From hills to ocean, the downstream effect of pollution and indiscriminate dumping of solid waste in the White River pose real threats and challenges for Ocho-Rios, once a sleepy fishing village, now a bustling town with vibrant tourism and other commercial interests, and the community of fishermen who were there from the beginning. Belinda Collier-Morrow, a diver and chair of the White River Marine Association, which has partnered with the fishermen in the area to run the Ocho-Rios Fish Sanctuary, remembers a time when the coral reefs were healthy and the fish were in abundance. The Planning Institute of Jamaica is the executing agency of this high-level Hills to Ocean project. A core project management unit collaborates and coordinates daily with technical experts from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, and the Public Gardens Division, and from NEPA, the National Environment and Planning Agency.
The implementation of this project is a direct investment in data collection and research and will strengthen the technical capacity of the National Environment and Planning Agency, ultimately bolstering its monitoring and early warning capabilities. Together, let us join hands and hearts to manage and protect Jamaica's land, wood, air, and water.
Given the new national campaign by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries to grow smart and eat smart, we look forward to the new possibilities presented under this project to teach new techniques, build resilience, and strengthen our island nation. RADA aims through the promotion of integrated and sustainable land management practices as well as direct transfer of knowledge to achieve these goals.
We value and appreciate the cooperation with Jamaica regarding this project, as it will allow us to further progress on the joint fight on climate change. Jamaica has proven to be a pioneer in the region regarding the subject, and we are very happy to see that actions are taking place every day to improve the life of Jamaicans, as well as of all those sharing this planet, since climate change doesn't stop at national borders.
As we're only a few weeks away from closing out 2023, let us avoid making the same mistakes that might have kept us in what seemed to be a never-ending cycle. Take time to reflect on what you've learned. Avoid repeating the same mistakes and make plans for the future, and make sure you stick to them. This has been Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow for another informative show. If you happen to have missed today's, be sure to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, where you'll find this and much more. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.